Hello folks. Because everyone's time is valuable, I'll get right to the point. First, I am not a member of the John Birch Society. I don't know anyone who is. Like most of you, up until now, what I knew about this outfit is only what I've been told and led to believe over the years. It was all bad, right? Well, I'm pretty sure the reason you clicked this video was the curious title, Birch Society, Racist? African American members who didn't get that memo. Here are 3 of the many current members of the John Birch Society who happen to be black or African American. Is this true? Yes, they really are members of JBS. Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson, Izola Foster, and Reverend Steve Kraft. In fact, I found this rather funny anecdote members respond with when asked about the charges of being anti-Semitic or racist. The charge that the society is racist and anti-Semitic bothers me because it is completely false, but it bothers our black and Jewish members even more. This certainly doesn't sound like the society everybody paints it to be, does it? I urge you, please, go ahead, research these folks. I had to prove it to myself as well, because quite frankly, I didn't believe it either. To make it easy for you, I have conveniently placed their names with the word Birch next to each in the description box below, so you can conduct your own search however you wish. An easy way is to highlight the whole line and right-click the highlighted area and select Google Search from the drop-down list that appears. Now, if that satisfies your curiosity regarding the John Birch Society and the racist accusations against them, I've given you all you need up front without making you suffer through a long, drawn-out video building up to the fact that there really are minorities who are proud members of the John Birch Society. Now, personally, for me, that was not enough. I started this query because I have been supporting Ron Paul, and when they mentioned in one of the hit pieces on MSM that he spoke at a gathering of the John Birch Society, I couldn't believe it. I mean, everyone knows they are a racist, southern redneck type anti-Semitic hate group, right? And that John Birch guy, well, he was some kind of a crackpot, wasn't he? This left me wondering. Congressman Ron Paul is a libertarian, which by definition views people as individuals, not as being cast into separate groups. Why would he associate with a group who endorsed the opposite ideals? I mean, who knows? Maybe these fine, well-respected folks are just token members. I've seen that sort of thing before, with minorities being used by groups to deflect inquiries of racism or prejudice. And I know I remember reporters always making mention of the Society's affiliation with those divisive elements with statements like, the John Birch Society, a well-known racist group, or Birchers, who are anti-Semitic, and they throw in a secret society every now and again. So I set out to get some answers. The rest of this video, revealing what I found, will both surprise you and infuriate you. In 1958, Robert Welch, an American businessman, realizing the federal bureaucracy was expanding without any effective political opposition. And most Americans didn't fully understand that the Constitution was written and framed in such a way to limit the government from doing so. He also saw that there were elements in society, in the press and in the political arena, who were driving the U.S. towards socialism and, by extension, communism. Now, remember, this is the late 1950s, and the subversive threat of communism was a very real and present danger then, and infiltration was a lot less messier than war. In order to shed light on these things that threatened our country, he thought to put in place an entity, in his words, to inform their discretion by education. He adopted the name of a valiant World War II hero, John Birch, to title the new society of his. The strategy was broken down as this. 1. To educate oneself, become informed. 2. Inform others with the knowledge you've gained. 3. Stop or curtail any more unconstitutional expansion of the government and any more compromising of our independence. And 4. Undo any advances the enemy had already accomplished, with the Constitution serving as the standard with which to measure and judge the government's actions. And the personal conduct of the members, so as to be beyond reproach, would be guided by the 10 Commandments. The motto that was adopted for the society, still is today, less government, more responsibility, and, with God's help, a better world. Now hold on just a minute. No way they can be all of that. How come I never heard about any of this? Or maybe they changed over the years and became corrupted to be the nasty piece of work we've all heard that they are. Nope. As I have read more and more, they are still the same society that launched in the late 50s. In fact, Mr. Welch made a speech in 1970 that sounds as he is addressing the very issues we face today. Here's just a snippet. And you can see the entire video on YouTube. The link is below.
And ask yourselves in all honesty, what on earth is wrong with the United States simply minding its own business? We should withdraw all American troops from every spot on earth that is not American soil.
Now that sounds familiar. So how did they get from being champions of the Republic and the Constitution to being thought of as secret, racist group of supremacists? On the way to preserving and defending our sovereignty, they made enemies. The communists, for one, who, with several sympathetic newspapers published throughout the nation in the early 60s, slammed the society on an almost weekly basis. Even though the attacks in print were unexpected, they were fighting back and winning. As the society grew, they became aware that subtle but substantial plans were being made and carried out to destroy the sovereignty of America and move us towards a social state, closer to communist rule than to a republic or even a democratic government. They had successes in dampening some of those efforts through education of the public with speaking tours, distribution of pamphlets, and newspaper ads. The destroyers, as they were called, took notice. One mighty foe in particular, who had very close ties to the media and other liberals like himself in positions of high power, set about to take them down. This mighty foe was no less one of the members of the five families, the powers that be. You know who they are. Nelson Rockefeller, then governor of New York, made a speech at the 1964 Republican National Convention. This speech addressed extremism and its effects on politics and the people. Even though he was booed to the point of drowning him out, he insisted that the chairman control the audience and give him 5 minutes to say his piece. The last part of it I quote from the transcript. "There is no place in this Republican Party for such hawkers of hate, such purveyors of prejudice, such fabricators of fear." The crowd boos. "Whether communist, Ku Klux Klan, or Birchers." Crowd boos and begins continuous cheer of "We want Barry." Now remember, Barry Goldwater had won the 1964 Republican Convention. He continues, "There is no place in this Republican Party for those who would infiltrate its ranks, distort its aims, and convert it into a cloak of apparent respectability for a dangerous extremism. And make no mistake about it, the hidden members of the John Birch Society and others like them are out to do just that." Governor Rockefeller didn't care about the boos. He was on a mission. He knew the society would stand fast in the way of him and his family's future designs for the country. To have its citizens totally dependent on the government, and the elite having full control of its rule. Using the media and political stage, Rockefeller and his cronies had great success in painting the society as sympathetic to the Klan, as racists, and as anti-Semites. All those things we find appalling and divisive to American society. And so continued the systematic attack on the society on every front. Newspaper headlines, radio, TV sound bites, all meant to invoke a negative public sentiment towards them. There is so much more that I haven't even addressed that I learned about these guys. Like the speaking tour that the John Birch Society sponsored for a member who authored a book entitled Hijacked. His name is Anthony Bryant. He was a former Black Panther who wrote his account of hijacking a plane in the late 1960s and flew it to Cuba, only to be incarcerated there for the next 12 years. Or the campaigns they launched, like Support Your Local Police, which halted the attempts by the government to take control of all law enforcement and oversee it from the federal level. and the investigation that Robert Welch asked for to absolve the society of the charges laid against him. California State Subcommittee on Un-American Activities concluded after 2 years of extensive scrutiny with a 62-page report that was so honest and so favorable to the society and its purpose, he asked for and received permission to publish it as informational material about the John Birch Society. Now, as you do your own research, and I hope you do, there will be blogs and editorials making claims about ties to hate groups. I've seen 10 so far, and none were based in fact, as far as I have been able to drill down. The ones I've seen so far involve co-founder Revelo P. Oliver and a few members like William Pierce, who have, because they went to start or join a neo-Nazi type group, the fuzzy logic is that the Birch Society must be one too. Well, you should research the reason they moved on. In every case, their membership didn't last long because when they showed that racist view, their expulsion was immediate and permanent. From everything I've seen and read, the Birch Society just does not tolerate a sentiment or ideas that divide Americans into groups or collectives. It's not in their best interest, for one thing, and it's not American. Because America is both the nation of diversity and of inclusion. Like I said right from the beginning, I'm not a member. I just wanted to learn who these people were that whenever a reporter mentions the John Birch Society, they roll their eyes or spit their name out in disgust. I'm surprised to find out that they are really constitutionalists. Look at Rush Limbaugh's reaction when he found out. Utter disbelief. And that is why Ron Paul obviously would speak at one of their gatherings. And I am infuriated at the mainstream media and Rockefeller and everybody else who painted these guys as such nasty of nasties. But it just goes to show you that, we have to find our own truth because they're not going to tell us. And in fact, we'll do the opposite through the mainstream media. They will lie to us. Yet again, another example. And this should also serve as another tick on the pro side to vote for Ron Paul, a constitutionalist. And look how the MSM lies about him. They're scared. We're going to win. Ron Paul, 2012. Get out there and vote. The revolution continues.